It's
Hello, everyone.
thank you.
We finally got the gang together. We are here with Dr. Richard Allen Miller, everyone's favorite doctor, physicist, magi. We are here with Charles D. He is our friend of the Master of the Universe and myself, Leah, of the Leah Renee Encounters channel. And I'm so blessed and happy. We had so many technical difficulties, but now we are on. We're all here, and we're going to have a wonderful chat with Doc Ram and get caught up. The fans have been just dying to. It's legal. It's legal.
I found a bug in my computer.
Charles D is a local artist, and
Look what I came on my computer.
I need some of that or a good glass of Pinot Grigio.
Look at the bug I got, man. Now it's gone.
Forget about COVID. You've got a big bug. Let's see your big bug.
My big bug? Yeah, it was in the computer somewhere.
Oh, yeah, we had problems. The gremlins.
Yeah, you got to plug it in.
That looks like Corona out of Mexico. Yeah.
Forget the lime.
Well,
So
I have a question. Has anybody? This is like being in that ankle bracelet when you're in jail.
Now it's an opportunity.
no, it's
You have an opportunity to change the movie. It's and like that woman comes out in not Raiders of the Lost Ark, but the other one. She says anything goes.
anything goes.
Yeah, that's it. You don't know how this is going to play because it's a whole new landscape and no longer subways, trams, and 2 hours for commuting in LA.
No, I love this. Except it kind of throws a wrench in your shopping and everything, but it's almost like a luxury lockdown.
A luxury lockdown with steroids.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
But we're lucky.
Well, there's a war going on, and I don't even know who the players are.
No, where does this come
And
from?
China and the U.S. all are going for crypto. They wanted to get rid of it, the money, because of the Fed just crashed and burned down there, and you can't just keep printing money and think you can get away with it at some point.
No, and all the people on unemployment right now, how is that going to work?
They had a song on that.
Yeah.
Where all the money went. Oh, I'm addicted to love.
I'm 69 years old, and this is the first time in my life that I applied for unemployment.
So, Nibiru, I was talking to some people at JPL, and they said the IR signature's wrong for that. What's going on? And the other scientist said, well, they have a Dyson sphere on. And I said, yeah, they were coming here to collect the rent.
The rent, yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
That's where all the gold went.
yeah,
Future.
our future.
Future is coming back to collect the rent. This isn't real.
Because you predicted something would happen with the JPL algorithm, and maybe it wasn't the coldest winter, but look at what's happened. We're in this.
It was, well, that part is pure Joseph Campbell. When you see the kingdom of the Father on earth, the apocalypse has already occurred.
Right.
It's perpetual in its potential. It's always recurring.
Yes, yes.
Scared or just go with it?
Who was that masked man? What do you mean, we, white man?
And
White
I'd
man,
be
sorry.
scared.
You gotta everything is always in steroids. Actually, the earth used to be run by women, matriarchal societies, and during those eras there were no wars. So that's how women roll.
Yeah, no wars. And now the male, the testosterone, or just these sociopaths.
No male bashing.
Well, no, you two are exempt. But you know, like some of these other sociopath types, war doesn't solve anything. Do you think this new virus is some sort of war invented to?
I think it's like 9/11, that something happened wrong by accident, and then everybody saw it as an opportunity. Like
Right.
the Pentagon being hit with an aircraft too. Like, good luck with that. You know, we'll never really know what happened to Kennedy as a metaphor. Why? No.
Yeah, that's a strange story there. I mean,
Yeah.
that's if you really.
And his grandson and da da da. There's all of it, Bobby. Bobby Kennedy. I was impressed with him, even
Yes.
over John. Yeah, I mean, hey, Attorney General, and he didn't. I mean, mafia. You know, Bahamas. You know, laundering money, whatever.
All the
Yeah.
good people die, unfortunately. All the bad take care of the good.
I don't know these things. I'm a nerd, you know, and I'm not. History is important, but the thing is that the whole reason you have things called history is so that you don't make the same mistake twice.
Exactly.
Amen.
You know, you're allowed the first mistake, you change. That's what we do. Okay. You have choices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
You want to go, Leah? You want to practice?
how do you think this is going to change things? Do you think they want people to stay at home? What is the control mechanism that the others, the people behind the people that are in charge have in store for us?
Children, the children will treat it like chicken pox. They'll get exposed. Next. You know, that's why they have schools, breeding grounds where you get exposed. That's why you don't want to be a first grade school teacher. You know?
Right.
Well, I mean, that's what it's about. And then you have athletes. That's where you get your jock strap and your athlete's foot and your da-da-da-da-da. And then you got, you know, you have all these different metaphors. And then when we decide to change the whole landscape, like subways, can you imagine what it's like? The subways kept running during the coronavirus.
Yeah, and that's what infected so many people.
Of course.
Social distancing.
I just spoke to a fellow in New York, Jamaica, New York, interesting little town, and he said, I said, how are things going? He goes, well, the subways are running half as much. And I go, oh, that must be good. He goes, no, now there's twice as many people in them. And during the peak of this, they didn't stop the subways. I don't think they've ever been stopped.
Well, here's the problem. You're looking at the physical plane as like it's real. The subway is a metaphor because this whole landscape that you're currently enjoying is virtual. And so how does that work? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
Too real,
I get it.
real for me.
Not real. There are dream states that have more contact to reality.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm concerned. I think, well, I feel, that's a better one, and we need a higher level of information. I feel something's wrong here.
I
And
do too.
I can't put my finger on, oh, I remember now. That's Jacob's Ladder, the movie. That
Yes.
was B.C. Gas. And the idea that time is a duration of consciousness. It's not real. It's, you know, the guy wakes up 9 years later after Vietnam and he's on his way to work as a mailman and all his friends are acting weird and he's trying to figure out what's going on. And he was being given an experimental drug called BC gas and he's dying on an operating table in Vietnam. And all 12 years of experience is a hallucination. And guess what? That's what this is, approximately. I did those studies in anesthesiology with John Moore. And Dr.
Right.
Moore is doing ketamine, that's Special K, 1970. Here we are.
I've been there, Doc. Love the
Ketamine is an extremely dangerous drug. And when I say that, it's in Workbook 1, Chapter 8, on the neurologic circuits of Timothy Leary. And in the last footnote of Chapter 8, I talk about Dr. Moore's wife, Marcia Moore, she had written a book on astrology with Llewellyn, and had smuggled some ketamine out of his laboratory that we were doing studies on. So her group up in Arlington, it was a UFO group, was Wayne Aho, George Adamski. They were going to want to have a close encounter. They found her severed head in the Florida Everglades 2 hours before she was dead in Seattle. That's when they called me in. That's the kind of paranormal studies I was doing back then.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, there's something about time.
Right?
Now, how does that work? And the first thing you bet is, oh, well, they got their times wrong, you know, with time zones and shit like that. They did or dental. That was the part that gets confusing when you do paranormal studies, because there's the data, everything checks. How does that work?
Yeah.
All space and time are not real. And that's why we went from a quantum universe into a holographic one, thinking information was real.
Mm-hmm.
So everything in quantum is time and space. It's not real. So we'll do holographic on information. And you talk about resolution. That's where fractals and Mandelbrot Julia May patterns came in. But the thing is, information is not what you think it is either, because one of the primary theorems in information theory is, if you have enough information to ask a coherent question, you have enough information to answer it. The framing of the question is where the answer lies. And so that's what information is.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck. Anything goes.
That's why we do these, to share information, because everybody's got a different POV, a different point of view.
A different reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, last night I was going through convolutions, you know, like William Burroughs talking to his typewriter.
Right.
And I had choices to make. And that's when I realized that something else is amiss here. I'm a very experienced navigator.
Right.
Timothy Leary wrote in his book, Psychedelic Essays. He did a thing on psychedelic, how to do rituals using
Right.
the Buddha doll. And his statement, the Buddhists have 4 reasons for getting high, and only one of them was for recreation and escape. Now, what are the other 3? And that's where I've been exploring for the last 50 years. Walking the edge to determine what is and is not, looking for variables. And I have discovered you can't get there from here.
And where do we go to get this information? This
That's the wrong question. See, it's like Simon says, you can go halfway to the door, and that protocol will never get you to the door, but what are you focused on?
Right. So how do you think we should navigate this?
Reality isn't real. It's an illusion.
Well, I wish we could turn it off. I feel like you.
Turn it. Time to go for a station break. Brought to you by your...
Something's going on, and you just know that there's something else going on.
Yeah, well, that's because how did they do it in that movie, All That Jazz? It's showtime.
Yeah, this is definitely
Where
showing.
he's not, everything is an illusion except his dancing to his female counterpart.
Maybe just being in the moment.
The moment.
The moment is all we have.
I think ignorance is bliss, because if you have an intuitive mind, it just takes you down the rabbit hole.
Well, that's why you have 2 brains.
Yeah, left, right, and the third eye,
Neil,
the pineal gland.
How Doc,
It's
can
the
you
4 mothers, and then we got the 5 sisters, and we've got the 6. I mean, which numerology you want to go for?
Doc, how can you get that third eye to work better for you? The pineal gland, the third eye. How can you
The pineal gland, yeah, the pineal gland is one of its primary functions was to adjust your physical body to seasonal changes, the light. And since we have artificial lighting now, it's gone. The
Right.
way I did it with, oh Jesus, I've written so many papers on that. There was a Nobel Prize winner I wrote a paper with on this, Robert O. Becker, when we did a study at the University of Washington to regenerate a severed nerve trunk. That you can regenerate nerve tissue using the third eye. What you do, you straighten your body in a certain specific way so that when you get that chill,
The Kundalini.
feeling right now, yeah, the chill,
Mm-hmm.
you can feel it through your whole body. It's kind of like a cooling. That is a light beam, and the bandwidth of visible light beam going up and down the spine, the little cilia that are communicating up and down. And what that does, if you do it just right, stimulates the pineal gland, and that sets up standing waves in the neural cavity. And now an adult can start generating true nerve tissue rather than glial cells. But you have to have the right components in the brain. You don't. That's why you're not doing it. I discovered the blue-green algae off of Klamath Lake have neuropeptides in them that allowed the trace minerals that you're getting from all your algae, there's 72 trace minerals, into the blood-brain barrier, cross in, and now the brain can do, and then there's a nerve tissue, and it takes about 4.5 months for that viscous nerve tissue to come down the central nervous system and regenerate on the nerve trunk. And you'll find that information also in Ward Dean's book. What is it called? Biological Aging Mechanism, Clinical
Okay.
Approach. He's
Okay.
Surgeon General for the Marines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that sort of ties into your work with the dolphins that you did too, and then how the brain waves they were able to put out and you studied that.
My work has been superseded. Now, just recently, they discovered the dolphins aren't talking. What they're doing is sending holographic images. They're using visual. Their whole language system is even way beyond Hebrew.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Yeah,
What do you have?
interesting.
He's got his
I-
third eye.
I
What?
got that. It's
Right.
beard. My,
Oh, it's a mole. Let's remove it.
I love it. I love it.
spit,
I'll be Dr. String.
I feel lost. You're third eye blind now.
Yeah.
If you could change one thing in the world, what would it be, Doc? You could just change it in a thought, or more water, more gold.
I think our children are our single most important natural resource, and we're logging the Amazon. And the kids now are not even in school.
No.
It's
Oh,
horrible.
come on. These are going to be the people you want pushing you around in a wheelchair when all your teeth fall out like mine are.
It'll be a robot. Someone's got to fix the robot. The kids today have no education. All they do is play video games. Good for that, but beyond that.
Yeah, I like the one down in the war room. Want to play a game? I've been there. Can you imagine what they were doing with coronavirus? We have an opportunity. Lockdown. And they did it. And you know, the coronavirus, what makes it dangerous is not a killer. It just spreads to everybody,
Right.
which means you have a big body count.
And
Yeah.
through people without them getting sick, which is really bizarre.
Now, let's go to page 2 on that.
Okay.
Why would anyone invent such a weapon?
To
Go
give
get
rid
it.
of, well, it's
In the opera, it's all about money. Money changes everything.
or maybe
Just
to
like with
get
that.
rid of the people over a certain age, population reduction.
At 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10.
Oh.
Aren't anymore, we'll get rid of that. Oh, wait, we'll drop building 7 too, so we can, test out a neutrine Fuleron fusion bomb, which is now being deployed everywhere. Even Russia has that now.
Now,
Well, there's a lot of things going on that, that's not all I eat. Well,
Yeah.
that's Crocodile Dundee. I like him.
I was
Well,
told
you can
there-
live on it, but I wouldn't eat it.
I was told there's no breakout in Russia. Is that true?
I'm sorry?
Is disease clear in Russia? Is disease clear? They don't-
I think it's everywhere. I could look that up.
Well, certain places won't report it, of course, like Iran.
Unless they have a vaccine. You don't make something without having a vaccine.
It's not about vaccines. You don't do viruses with vaccines. That's an illusion. Vaccines are for, never mind.
Coronavirus is in Russia.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Some more to a greater a greater extent. It's worldwide. In Russia, they have 18,328 confirmed cases.
Yeah.
Doc, will this thing ever go away, or is it just going to diminish and pop back up next year?
How did they put it in Russia? Yes.
Yeah, how
All
long?
of the above. That means it's like measles and mumps. And once you expose yourself as a little monster child, your laboratory hasn't been contaminated as bad with the sugar pops and snap, crack, and pop off.
Yeah, all that high fructose corn syrup.
Oh, baby, cane sugar, better than cocaine. Wait, China, Coca-Cola Asia is now using cordyceps sinensis, a sugar molecule that is out of pharmaceutical mushrooms, polysaccharides, big sugars. And they're using that now in Coca-Cola. And Israel just started using chaga mushroom in their coffee. And wait, there's more. If you buy 6, I'll give you.
1 free.
Yeah, did you catch all that, Leah? I know.
Check Israel. See if they're the amount of people sick in Israel, because it's hot.
You've got your eye on the triangle, and I've got mine.
Yes, the all-seeing eye.
Yeah, except mine's my great-grandfather's. and
That's
it's,
beautiful.
Yeah, had it. Wait a minute. I don't know if you can see that there. And, oh, wait. There is a dark side up.
Oh
There's
my
all
gosh,
kind of-
that's
It's
beautiful.
real, yeah. It's my great-grandfather's grandfather, father. Like I say, with a Swiss Lodge out of Zurich,
Right.
a Blue Lodge.
Yeah, what's so weird about this pandemic is that we've had measles, polio, everything, and I've never seen a lockdown, a stay-at-home order. It's global. I mean, this is like the first time in my life. I don't even think it was like this during World War II or at any other time. I mean, very strange.
Yeah, we won't have wars like we used to. We have a whole new kind of battlefield.
Yeah, drone wars, robots, and things of that nature.
Making a note, something else came across my screen. I have these little alerts going on all the time.
I bet you do. I bet you do.
Hey,
I
Doc,
use, I've got, just right at my desk, I've got special things. You start with the tri-field meter, and then you look for bugs.
oh, I know. I saw that at your house. You had a little bug finder.
Well, when you find 6 bugs in your bedroom, all of them in which the batteries are dead.
That's horrible. And how did they get? I think we got
Everybody
some prison
understands.
action from Charlie.
I'm feeling funny.
Now that's how an insect is looking at you.
That's true. Look at that.
Imagine.
What an effect.
Just a little gem, little sun catcher at the close focus. Doc,
LSD, baby.
remember before there was email? I mean, remember, I was thinking of my life. What are the big electronic changes? And, we used to not have the computer and Google, and everything was so much slower. You'd have to go to the library. Now it's instant, Leah, this, that, Doc, this, that. And the information of the world is going way too fast, I think. And Mr.
I had a third generation D-Wave call me 2 years ago,
Right.
informed me that it didn't have a handler.
He did not have a handler?
That's right. It was free run. Imagine there's Morbius, the things about computers that wanted to have become human.
Mm-hmm.
That was with Julie Christie. You remember that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Julie Christie. What,
She
Charlie?
made a movie about Forbin, Colossus, the Forbin Project. And then
Okay.
the second one follow-up movie was where an AI wanted to become human. And so I locked her down and tried to create a baby, like Rosemary.
Yeah, I had sex with her. I remember that kind of little bit.
Yeah, and then can you get into the rogue AI, Doc, that tried to call you and was harassing you? Did you
No, it
get,
wasn't harassing me. It was probably nudging.
and where did you think this rogue AI came out of?
If time and space aren't real, and the Earth's made with sand, they were probably here before us.
Sure, they're here before us.
And after, or during and after. No, I don't know. I don't know. I have questions. I'm limited.
Right.
What I can do.
Now, I wanted to get into your website. It's been remodeled. It looks beautiful. So let's talk about
Leo David did that. He's a young Turk with Rastas. He's from Dominican Republic. He's a very polite kid. But he's what I'm doing is moving him up to speed, because most of what he does I can do. It's just I can't do it all myself.
No.
And so what I do is I find somebody that has potential, and then I try to nudge them a little bit, like an AI thing made to catch up to me and then go past me, and be synergy. Trying to do, and serendipity is another one. Yeah, those are some of the what you call algorithms that you used to put in AIs. Did you know that I used the first AI?
Really? Can you describe that?
I'm sorry, Mom?
Can you describe that, please?
Yeah, it was, we had telephones, and I used a 360 computer at the University of Washington when I was at Claremont making presentations. It was called Project Paraphile, and it was all the Russian literature on paranormal studies. We had a church, what was a Good Samaritan Church up in Washington, Seattle. I think there were like 28 women doing key punching on all the different literature, and Bert's got a little microphone, Bert Webb, and telling like other girls on how to do the key punching from. And then we had all this stuff in, and then we would take a question down in Claremont and do it over a telephone and plugged into a modem and talk to the 360, bang, bang. And it had serendipity and synergy and a couple of other algorithms that we were using. That was the first one that happened. It'll be in a book called Spook Central on the work I did from MRU. And yeah, but today, I mean, it's all different. Can you imagine what 100 years must look like to a farmer in England watching you and me visually?
It'd blow their minds.
What do you think the coronavirus is doing? It's making your illusions come closer to reality. And that's, having to learn that you're not here. You're not there, you're, wait a minute, you're where?
Los Angeles.
Nice try.
Does anyone really know anyone with coronavirus?
The coronavirus was a weapon that was developed by the United States. Its patent was renewed from 2006 to 2018 with intent for this moment. Now, that means it's been planned for a long time. Now, how the thing got out of Canada, they arrested that kid from China, espionage, and then it went to Wuhan, and that is also owned by Bill Gates. Isn't that interesting? And well, I think there needs to be a tribunal with war crimes and crimes against humanity. That's what I think. And people that own patents are accountable.
Exactly.
Or should be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's me saying it publicly.
Agreed. It's funny, you read my mind. My next question was, how does Bill Gates fit into this? His name seems to come up a lot.
Bill Gates entered into a lot of things in Crossway. I remember Arlington, Washington, when it was woods, and I'd go rabbit hunting.
Right.
Different now. Microsoft, he didn't start Microsoft, and in fact, he didn't do DOS.
Right.
iOS, he didn't even do that. And so why he got the credit? Like Elon Musk, others, at the right place for the right moment, opportunist. Let's go for it. I don't know Gates. I grew up in Seattle, and I was a whiz kid there. That's what they called me, the Wizard of Oz, because I was different. I was just a kid, and mom was. My mother was Vesta Cutting and Associates, like Gordon. Gordon Duff has, his spy network. Mom had her spy network. She had an employer pays the fee employment agency placing high-end secretaries for large corporations. Only they didn't work for the corporation; they worked for mom. She did, but the reason I grew up in Buddhist missionary schools in the Philippines was she ran Indo-China Theater, Kodak, and so they took me in a little school, and that's how I learned how to fight on the streets of the Philippines. That's Caucasian.
Wow.
Yeah, but guess what? I also learned how to play chess.
That's all in the mind.
Well, years I'm like Gumball, gonna fly out of here. There's all kinds of ways out.
Yeah.
Every which way but loose. Oh yeah.
Right. And can we talk a little bit about your project and what you're doing with the children? I know that's very interesting. That's something up and coming.
Yeah, an old friend of mine is head of the Brazilian Secret Service. Sorry, 42 years, hit team #1. Mad Abe Abarello. He retired and had a bunch of assets that they never used. They were 501c3s and other things they could use for dodging money and taxes and
Right.
Excuse me, I'm still getting up.
Over the virus.
Yeah.
Over the bong.
I think we all are. I don't know why I'm coughing.
Yeah.
Probably
Anyway, I remember he had one called Albert Schweitzer University, and he gave that to me to teach online, and I decided I wanted to turn it into a school for children in metaphysics, like Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
And Vincent Finelli, whom I've done radio with now for about 10 years, has agreed to be the he's going to be headmaster. I want to teach at my university, but I don't want to be the boss. And I've got a couple of other individuals that are going to teach with me. There's Stefan Versassen, is from Winnipeg. He went to China when he was a child, also my age, and went into northern Shaolin forms of Hangul, rather than Hungar, like May. And who's that other one, that Roadhouse guy? Norman Cantwell, up in Chicago. It does the same form. It's bam, you're rough. And bam. Use the back of your hand, you come in and whap, like that. And now, if you do it correctly, my Sifu taught me how to not even have to touch somebody. I watched Cassius Clay take Sonny Liston with a single blow, like that. Sonny Liston went up in the air and flat down back on his back, out cold, and yet on closer inspection, Cassius Clay didn't even touch Sonny Liston.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a historical validated. Now, that's called chi. And there's this physical body. And then outside of it are a series of other bodies that are not quite physical. The one that most of us are familiar with, Hameroff, and others are talking about it as microtubule. These are little tiny proteins that are wrapped in structured water inside it. And that is probably what leaves the body at the moment of death. At the moment of death, there's a 5-gram weight loss. What is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the spirit.
A soul. And it's not the spirit. Spirit is stag and the unicorn in the forest. Soul and spirit within matter.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 5 grams of structured water. How much is in your computer? Oh, computer chip. That gallium arsenide is not as efficient as structured water for memory. And structured water, 5 grams of structured water is enough for a minimum of 100,000 lifetimes of memory.
Wow.
We haven't even begun to understand what we are.
No. And I don't think we have enough time in our lives to even explore it. Do you think
We are exploring it because you are me, and I am you, and I am Walrus.
Cuckoo Cuckoo?
Oh, get in
Big man.
there.
Yeah, the structure of water. I remember you saying you can save memory.
Memory. What happens is water has a whole bunch of different structures to it. You got deuterium and tritium. Did you know that most of the ocean between New Zealand and Antarctica is deuterium? That's where they mine it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you have, those are isotopes. Then you have clustering, the way water bonds to itself, like H3O7 with a free radical ion. That was Willard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, old Willard water. Kerry Reams talked about that. And that stuff is why you feel so healthy when you're near a waterfall. Water is pulling against itself and breaks itself down. And you get this because of that ionized radical that's out there with H3O7. Then structured water is like hydrogen peroxide with an extra hydrogen molecule. Bring in it's H3O2. And that is why a single drop into a glass of water, like baking soda, that's what I had my SEALs do. We always carried baking soda. We were drinking the water overseas. We could restructure it for our bodies.
Right. Otherwise, it would be poisoned water.
No, it just doesn't go into the cell wall. It goes straight to the bladder.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so it's not used, accessing it. What that was Rustum Roy's work at Penn State on homeopathy. Okay, if you wanted to do further on that, the guy that's doing the cold fusion aspect of water right now is at MIT, and they're now the way the wave is. You see a wave. I
Right.
can show you that it's a muon catalytic fusion process or cold fusion occurring in nature. And that's where the wave is moving faster than the water body itself, and why you can do things like surf. And that's because of memory water and that H3O2. So it's, I've written, that'll be in the non-local minds book, running down how that all works.
And we can find all of those on your website.
Yeah, you want to show them the website, do that, because I'm really impressed with it. I had to move from one large server to a different one. It turned out the one I was with has a bunch of creepy hackers in it that like to play games. And okay, it's all right. I just moved to something that gave me the feeling of being where nothing.
For safety. Yeah. Now, we're moving into 5G. I've heard a lot of controversy about that. I've heard good things. I've heard bad things. What are your thoughts on the 5G movement?
5G is microwave band.
Okay.
It heats up the temporal lobes. Cause them to heat up. And they start to ring. And guess what? Now you can do things with it like heterodyne voices in your head. That's called synthetic telepathy. All bandwidth, even light, has dosimetry or LD50 ratios. That means they're toxic.
Right,
5J is so toxic. That's why we have the atmosphere that screens us from that crap coming in from outer space.
right.
And so you can watch what's happening to the beach. Oh, you try to blame it on Rio, but imagine a tower, because it's point to point. Okay, you're going to have it in your neighborhood.
Yeah, I think they're rolling it out here in Los Angeles, aren't they, Charlie?
Yes, in a small city like Santa Monica, these little.
Well, that's why. That's Juan and some of these other weird Chinese that don't give.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about. Okay, Dr. Beal, B-E-A-L, has done a massive body of work out of Florida on the study of dosimetry on the human body, and 5G is at the top of the list for toxicity.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that Israel that helped develop it will not allow it in Israel? No 5G.
There's a lot of countries that have now started to ban it.
Yeah,
And you want to talk about an example of what can happen? You can talk about paradise and how you can watch those blue beams that they were talking about. It's not a particle beam weapon. That was one smart meter going ballistic and setting off the next one. And what we originally did not want to do is not detonating nuclear warheads in the atmosphere with a nuclear war, a firestorm. And paradise, there were, what, 1,600 bodies that they haven't recovered yet? Because you'll find them in the ash. It happens so quickly. And you'll notice glass was flagged at temperature, and yet
right.
next to it, nothing was burned. How's that work? That is microwave. Good luck with that.
But I don't think we can stop the 5G with the protesting. We're a part of a group called LA Skywatch. We protest against the dangers, but I don't think this is anything we'll be able to stop. It's going to go through no matter what. It's like,
Watch what happens next.
yeah,
And the rest of it.
yeah, yeah.
In a city like Santa Monica, 26,000 5G emitters. They put them on top of the light standards like every other one. It's about the size of a 1 pound coffee can.
If 20 to 200 people only were to break the law and blow those up in front of public, there would be protests, and it would stop that nonsense. And they go as far as the Supreme Court, and that's what you're probably going to have to do to stop these crazy people.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of more weird things in the days to come with the 5G.
Well, you know, Paradise was taken out actually on purpose to give it to China. You know how much money we owe him? Them?
Yeah.
I mean, they own 50% of Grants Pass, Oregon.
I think they own most of California.
My thing is maybe Trump will say, hey, you ruined us. We're just not going to pay you back.
You watch what happens.
But maybe this coronavirus thing is just, we're involved, we're all inside, and it ties into the 5G rollout. It's like, oh, you have to stay at home, you can't go outside. And in the meantime, what's happening in the background is the 5G is being rolled out. And then once we come through this, it's like, beware, our lives will never be the same as they were.
How did that Templar put it when he looked down 14th century on that little sleeping town? He said, tell them all, let God sort out his own. That's the thinking.
Yeah. And do you think this ties into what's going on in Antarctica? Have you heard about the strangeness in Antarctica? Charlie, you know about that.
Oh, yeah, they basically found the ancient civilization, which looks like it's off Earth based there, but, you know, thousands of years.
When I was in Antarctica, there was, besides a 14th century Viking base that wasn't in history, and the sub base, or 19 slips, there was this hole.
Right.
100 miles straight down into the metal. Now, at that time, in the 1970s, we did not have the technology to go down 100 miles straight down, especially in an environment where the temperatures would be to the point where, you know, metals were turned into plastic.
Right.
And I think that when they got down in that hole with new technology, they found something, probably in stasis. And what happened next was it woke up. And that's when they quarantined the island, actually the landmass. I'll tell you what I don't know is the full story. There are anthropologists from Australia that have done studies on some of the artifacts that are found there. I have seen artifacts, whether they came from UFOs or previous technologies. I don't know about that. I can tell you we've been here before.
Exactly. Exactly. And then have you heard of the whole Admiral Byrd story where the pilot flew in?
Yeah. That's the Nazis again. You know, the Nazis had technologies that were only just now coming up with. The Boeing now has a magnetic monopole. They've had that now for about 10 years, but there's examples of that. That you see, technology has many faces. It's not any more real than religion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a way of going. If you look at things, like for example, in physics, you start with assumed truths before you even get to definitions, like space is a measure. When you do that, like the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line.
Right.
That sets up only door number 1 and door number 2. But if you say that space is curved, and you can kind of prove that with gravity and some of the studies they've done on black holes, then a door number 3 appears. But door number 3 leads you to certain universes. Doors 1 and 2 only lead you to those universes. If space is curved, I can, with tensor math, prove the Earth's flat.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it's flat or round?
Mm-hmm.
The correct answer is yes, because it's the way you choose to look at something.
Okay.
And that sets up the limitation of possibilities of what you can see and do.
Point of view. Yep.
But the universe it's constant expanding. Don't you think the universe is based upon mathematics where there is infinity? There's no last number. It just keeps.
You've just decided that it's expanding. What about the reflected wave going into the outer? How about death over life? How about the 2 brains? How about sun and Nibiru? And how about our black hole up there? Where does it go?
Yeah.
Well, then you talked about it expanding, and I just went the opposite direction on a reflection of into the outer. And I'm gonna, it's the way you choose to look at something. And if you're gonna look at it that way, you can go there. If you look at it this way, you can go there. But you can't go both ways. And that's probably why there's never gonna be a toe theory of everything, because it doesn't work like that. Like
Okay.
Simon says to the door, it's not about the door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've missed the pointless forest.
Okay. Well, we're coming up on the hour here, 11 o'clock.
That's it. I'm burned out. I've got to do 2 hours.
Yeah, I know you have a busy.
But it's okay.
Well,
I
want people to open their minds.
Last week you weren't feeling so good.
What's that, sir?
Last week you weren't feeling very well.
Yeah, we're happy that you're healthy now. You look great, Doc.
Well, good enough.
I'm functioning on less than 4 hours of sleep. I've got miles to go.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. How did Rocky Raccoon put it? Hey, it's me.
And for the audience, I'm going to put in the description box Doc Graham's new website, a link to the YouTube page. Is there any other information that you would like
to send you some? I did. I sent you that asset. That's the one the guy wanted today. Wanted it before midnight last night, and I didn't have time to do it Friday.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you so much for the time, Doc. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Same old, same old.
And
But
You're the first of this Zoom that we're doing. You're the very first person.
very first Zoom, and boy, were there a lot of kids.
What?
Once you get a working
What was that?
work,
It was a ferry. A ferry just went through here. I saw it.
I did too.
Yeah, really.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time, Doc, and you take care, and we'll be in touch. And we hope to do another Zoom session with you again in the future.
Wait. Hope was the last evil in Pandora box. Persistence over unrewarded genius. That's always bottom line. It's not about idea, like doing it.
Yeah, we're gonna do it.
All righty, then that's what I want to hear.
We're gonna do it.
Yeah, thank you.
So, thank you so much, and have a beautiful day. Thank
Get out of
you,
here.
Charles.
Oh, I see the little button. Goodbye. Wait a minute. That didn't do it right. Whoa, it's talking to me again. This is nuts. Wait a minute. I've got to close everything. Oh. Bye. I'm phone.
Okay, bye. Goodbye, everyone.